The Democratic Republic of Congo and the M23 rebel group have agreed in principle to end fighting in eastern Congo. The United States has been pressing for a lasting peace deal during months of talks in Qatar. The fighting has killed thousands this year in a conflict dating back more than 3 decades.
Another step towards ending a decades-long conflict. Representatives of the Democratic Republic of Congo and the M23 rebel group agreed to end fighting. The deal includes a roadmap for restoring state authority in eastern DRC, and it commits the two sides to reach a comprehensive peace agreement within 1 month. The US and Qatar brokered the deal, with Washington exerting pressure on both sides.
One of the most important articles of the Declaration of Principles is the affirmation of the state's control and authority over its entire territory, which is a normal thing for any country, regardless of the president, administration, or officials. This is a matter that concerns any country, extending state control over its entire territory. However, there is this ongoing conflict. The issue requires dialogue and following up on this dialogue, and requires persistence.
At the beginning of this year, the M23 rebel group launched a bloody assault, capturing the DRC's 2 largest eastern cities. The fighting killed thousands of people and forced hundreds and thousands of people from their homes. M23 is the most prominent of more than 100 armed groups vying for control in eastern DRC. The Congolese government and the UN say neighboring Rwanda is supporting M23 by sending troops and arms.
There is a real humanitarian tragedy that is very painful. There's no doubt that it's time to find a final solution to this issue.
This deal marks the latest attempt at achieving lasting peace. But justice for the victims of war is one of the key issues that remain to be addressed.
Well, for more on this, we're now joined by Kambale Musavuli, international human rights advocate from the DRC, and he joins us from Accra in Ghana. Great to have you on DW News. So, first and foremost, can you walk us through this deal? What have the warring parties agreed to?
It's really hard to tell. From what I've read so far, they are speaking about a ceasefire, return of refugees, but it's unclear about the position of the M23 and the bikers, particularly the Rwanda Defense Forces, if they will actually withdraw from the field. Right after the signing of the agreement, the M23 spokesperson clearly stated that they did not agree in withdrawing from the area. They agreed to put down the guns. So that's worrisome that this is already what's happening, at least for the Congolese people. What we're looking forward to is actually for peace and stability. But we also know that peace and stability can only come through justice. And these agreements signed in Doha or in Washington does not address the question of justice.
All right. From what you're saying there, you've used the word worrisome, but are you hopeful of the warring parties reaching a long-lasting peace agreement?
The current process is not a Congolese-led process, meaning the Congolese civil society and the Congolese people themselves. This is something that's coming from the top office. The Congolese president was quick to reach out to the US president to make a minerals deal in exchange for peace and stability. And that process lacked the voice of the Congolese people. What the Congolese people hope for right now is a long-lasting peace. What has been signed it appears to me as a ceasefire. That does not mean that the conflict has ended. But we know that this is not the only accord that Congo has signed. For the past 3 decades, there have been many peace accords with the same type of language. And what we've seen is the recidivism, right? That the same issue keeps happening every 2 to 3 years. And the reason why it continues to happen is because of the point I just made. As long as we're not holding perpetrators of violence accountable, they will keep coming back every 2 and 3 years and negotiate some type of peace, which is to me a power sharing agreement.
So from what you've said there, you've given me some reaction from people in the DRC. Is it safe to say then that they're being sort of a bit cautious at the moment in what they've seen?
The people themselves, particularly even civil society members, have pushed the Congolese government, have pushed the warring parties to actually hold perpetrators of violence accountable. Now, when we're talking about the M23, at this current moment, right, they have signed an agreement. In that agreement, it's unclear what will happen with the 7,000 Rwandan Defense Force soldiers on the ground. This is information that we have from the UN group of experts. Will they leave Congolese soil or not? Because the territories of North and South Kivu is under occupation. That is unclear. The second question is the return of state authority. Will the state authority return with having the rebels part of the government, which has always been a contention for the Congolese people, that those who have committed the crimes, they are being rewarded with positions, right? So they're leaving it as an open-ended statement of something that we've seen over the years. That's why we are worried that we are repeating the mistake of the past and presenting it as a peace for DRC, while we know that there is still much more work to be done in holding perpetrators of violence accountable for a lasting peace in DRC.
Great to have your insights and your analysis there. Kambale Musavuli joining us from Accra in Ghana, an international human rights advocate from the DRC. Thank you. Take care.